Ciao a tutti, benvenuti al Facile come Italiano. Hello everybody, welcome to Easy as Italian. I'm Reza, and if you remember about 4 days ago, I published a video about futuro semplice, simple future in Italian language. And some of my friends told me that it was too easy and you could teach it faster and you could, make a shorter video. Then I thought, why don't I make a challenge for myself? And for example, try to see how fast can I teach this topic, futuro semplice. So now in this video, I'm gonna try my best to teach futuro semplice in the fastest way I can. And don't think I have any script or any preparations I have made. Nope, everything is coming from up here. So let's see how it goes. So for futuro semplice, first, you know that we have three forms of verbs in Italian language: the verbs that end with are, the verbs that end with ira, and the verbs that end with ere. For the verbs that end with are, we have something like trovare, that means to find, okay? How can we bring it to futuro semplice? We take are, we take the root that is trov, and then we add trovere, and then we add the last part that depends on the pronoun that has a pattern like this: o, I, a, emo, ete, anno. It's from the first pronoun singular to the third pronoun plural. Now we put it in front of that and it would be something like trovero, troverai, trovera, troveremo, troverete, troveranno. Be careful and pay attention when you are using futuro semplice. The accent of the verb always goes to the last part that depends on the pronoun. Trovero, troverai, trovera, troveremo, troverete, troveranno. And then after that we have the verbs that end with ire. Like what? Like sentire, to hear or to feel. Now, how do we bring it to futuro semplice? We take the last then it would be sentir, and then we add the last part that depends on the pronoun, as easy as that. Sentirò, sentirai, sentirà, sentiremo, sentirete, sentiranno. Then we have the verbs that end with ere. Like what? Like scrivere, to write, okay? How do we bring it to futuro semplice? Again, pretty easy. Just take the last scriver, and then we add the last part that depends on the pronoun. So, scriverò, scriverai, scriverà, scriveremo, scriverete, scriveranno. As easy as that. Now we have the irregular verbs, okay? Irregular verbs, Italian is the language of irregular verbs. So, in the first, we are going to work with the two most useful and the most important verbs in Italian language that are irregular: essere and avere, to be and to have. First, avere. How do we bring it to futuro semplice? Avere. Let's take the root. We take ere, av, then we put r or r in front of that, avr, and then we put the last part that depends on the pronoun. So avrò, avrai, avrà, avremo, avrete, avranno. As easy as that. It's pretty simple. But essere is pretty different, okay? It's kind of a little more complicated, but completely also different. So what do we do about essere? We take essere and put it aside. Then we have to remember sar. When we have sar, we only have to put the last part that depends on the pronoun. So sarò, sarai, sarà, saremo, sarete, saranno. Then we have some other irregular verbs too, right? Like modal verbs. Modal verbs are all irregular in futuro semplice. We have talked about it. We had a video completely about that. We have 4 modal verbs in Italian language, as you know. And they are in this order. I mean, they don't have an order, but well, we call them like this: potere, sapere, dovere, volere. Potere means to be able to. How do we bring it to futuro semplice? Well, potere, we take the root, pot, then we add r or r in front of that, and then the last part that depends on the pronoun. Potrò, potrai, potrà, potremo, potrete, potranno. Then we have sapere, that means to know. Then we take the root, sap, we take r, delete it, we have sap. Then we put r or r, just like potere, in front of sap. Then we have saprò, saprai, saprà, sapremo, saprete, sapranno. And just in case that you have forgotten, sapere means to know or to know how. It can mean both. And then we have dovere, that means to have, okay? When you have to do something, it's a must. Now, for dovere, we just take the root, delete ere, just like the rest of them. Then we add r or r in front of that, dovr, and then we add the last part that depends on the pronoun: dovrò, dovrai, dovrà, dovremo, dovrete, dovranno. Then we have the last modal verb, that is volere, that means to want. And well, for this, it's a little different. If we take a root, it would be vol. So instead of that, I mean, when you put r in front of L, it wouldn't sound so well, and it's hard to pronounce and this kind of stuff. So Italians take this, and instead of that, they put vor, okay, with double R. So vorrò, vorrai, vorrà, vorremo, vorrete, vorranno. We have another verb that is irregular, but pretty simple and pretty similar to volere, that is venire, that means to come, venire. We have talked about it, venire, to come. And instead of vor, we have ver for venire. So verrò, verrai, verrà, verremo, verrete, verranno. So volere, to want, venire, to come. Vorrò, I will want, verrò, I will come. As he says that, it's not that hard that you would confuse it. Then we have only one more irregular verb to talk about, that is vivere, that means to live. Vivere, we take the root, viv, we put r or r in front of that, vivre, and then we add the last part that depends on the pronoun. So vivrò, vivrai, vivrà, vivremo, vivrete, vivranno. I'm finished. Well, this was... I tried. I would let you judge. And so the session is been, it wasn't a session at all. It was just stupid. I don't know why I did that. See you in the next couple of days. Be happy, have fun, have a great, great, great time with your family and friends and your loved ones.